Hey guys, welcome back to this episode of Screen Time. I'm your host Matt, and on today's video, we'll be ranking the top 10 horror movies. Now, there are a few terms and conditions. I have to have seen it in the year of 2024, and they have to be my first time watches. So there's a few things that I've cut off because they're my all-time favorites, Scream. But yeah, so let's get into it. So number 10 is Thanksgiving. This is a film from Eli Roth set during the holiday that America celebrates. I didn't know a lot about Thanksgiving going into this. I knew it was a holiday and I knew they ate turkey, but that was about it. And that was from watching Red, White, and Royal Blue. So, you'll learn some new things every day. But it was a solid watch. It was fun. It was like stab, die. Who is it gonna be? And are you like, I don't know, but why is there a TikToker in this movie? But it was fun. It was like a good time. There was mystery, there was intrigue, there was all the things you need from a good old slasher. Remind me of Scream and stuff like that. But yeah. All right, number nine. Number 9 is I Saw the TV Glow. I saw this one at Sydney Film Festival and I just was captivated from the very beginning. I was like, whoa, what is this? This is sick. I love purple. But no, everyone's performances were really well done. There's so many shots in the film that are just so incredibly beautiful and stunning and all the good words I can give this. How the film turned out is something that will sit with me forever, and how I left the theater, that theater experience. There was someone breaking down in my aisle. I was like, okay. And there was people going, that really was my cup of tea. So I saw both sides. I saw an emotional roller coaster that changed their life. They knew what this movie was going for. And then there's other people that are not really my thing. But yeah, it was definitely my thing. It didn't bring me to a breakdown, but it was still fun. It was a good time. All right, number 8 is Terrifier 3. I recently watched this at a horror festival here in Brisbane, and it was such a fun time. Just trying to comprehend my thoughts about this film, it gets me confused because there was Christmas, there was Halloween, and it was a vibe. It was so fun. The killings, would you say that? The stabbings, the murders, the slaughters were really fun. They were so groovy, they were fun. There were some really imaginative moments in those killings. I don't know what you would call it. Murders? Traps? It's not really a Saw film. You wouldn't call it a trap. But yeah, there was some really interesting ways that Art the Clown killed people in this one. I think my most memorable one from this one is probably... let me think. Probably the opening scene. It's just so visually interesting and there's so much going on. The vibes are high. Oh, it's the shower scene. Yep. So my favorite killing from this one is the shower scene. It was so fun. It was so funny. It was so groovy. The vibes were high. It just reminded me of a classic slasher from the 80s. But it was so funny seeing that chainsaw just rip through people. Anyways, I don't want to sound too crazy, but yeah, it was a fun time. All right, number 7 is Salem's Lawn. It's a director's streaming film, but by golly gee whiz, is it a fun time. The visuals were impeccable. They were stunning. There was a scene where they were in the forest and there's kids walking through and it's the trees and the kids are black, but the sun behind them is just so orange that it just creates this massive contrast. It's just so cool. And then one of them gets abducted and it's what the heck? You don't really understand what's happened. But yeah. So, and there's a lot of sequences throughout the film that, evoke classic vampire kind of horrors like Dracula and other things like that from the early 1900s that is just really fun. it's really fun, it's really groovy. I would have rather had the women survive, the love interest survive, but I get it. And it's kind of nice to have like a male figure and a son, or like a male child survive, because that doesn't typically happen now that I think about it. There's a lot of like dads and younger daughters survive, or mums and sons, like lights out, or sisters and brothers. There's never like a dad figure or a father figure and a son, like parental with the father and the son. Hope you understand what I'm trying to say. Anyways, on to my next one. Number 6 is Smile 2. Now, I did just watch this, so my feelings are raised. But it was a fun time. It was so interesting seeing how they established like fame and how lonely it can be and stuff like that, and drug abuse and other things that kind of cause this this virus to latch on, you know? So, and the scares in it were just so fun. They were so groovy, they were so fun. It was a lot of grossness, like that boom, boom, boom with the weight. I was like, oh, gross. Wasn't as gross as some of the stuff in Terrifier, but Terrifier is more goofy than gross, I would say. This one was like, ooh, you could like see the nose. I was like, oh my God, it's Voldemort, you know? But number 5, moving on, is Terrifier 2. I watched this for the first time a couple months ago, and it's just so fun. It's such an improvement from the first one that it just has a nice place in my heart. That's so like funny. It's very different to what I'm used to seeing. And that bedroom scene is just so iconic that it'll probably sit high up in my personal ranking for quite a while. I don't think like the Terrifier franchise will have to do something really inventive to top that bedroom scene. They didn't do it in the third one. They got close with the shower scene and the opening sequence, but I don't think they got there. All right, number 4 is Alien Romulus. It was just such a good follow-up to the first 2 films. I haven't seen 3, 4, Alien Covenant, Prometheus, that kind of thing, but knowing the kind of, you know, census around those films and seeing like the rating on Letterboxd, I know they weren't well regarded. So going into this, I was a bit apprehensive. I was like, I don't know. I watched the first 2 leading up to it, and I was like, I can probably stop there. I didn't know it was like set around that time too. I didn't know it was like a prequel kind of thing. I thought it was like a sequel to like 4. But no, it was good because I got to see what I needed to see, and that was it. And it was a fun time. The lift sequence was so fun. How the alien caught it in the tail, but then like didn't kill it. I thought it would have stabbed through the body with the tail, but maybe the tail doesn't work like that. Maybe the alien wanted to play with the human being for just a little longer. And then yeah, there was some really, really good visually stunning sequences. I don't know if you can tell a theme, but a lot of these have visually stunning. And it's not, like, the scares for me isn't the main thing. It's how they're, like, shown. Like, yes, you can have scary moments like The Nun 2, but if they're not visually visually interesting, I don't want to say it. Boring, seen it before. I want to see something new. But number 3 is Strange Darling. The fact that this movie had its storyline told out of place, and it just, like, unraveled over time, and the twists and turns, and you didn't really know who was in the right and who was in the wrong, was just very interesting and new, especially for like that kind of story where the female and the male and like domestic violence and stuff like that. So yeah, it was just really, really interesting to watch. There was a lot of great moments. It was a very character driven kind of script horror, but the scares and the gore still hit it, you know? It still punched you in the gut, you know? So yeah, number 2 is Longlegs. The ending for this one will just stick with me. I was like, whoa, what is going on? This is crazy. And then there was other moments where they found out what was going on, and you're like, what the heck? This is nuts. I feel like I'm on a roller coaster. But yeah, it was a fun time. It was just a fun time. It was a good time, visually stunning, and it just stuck with you. You were like, oh my god, and you just felt uneasiness for the whole time. But yeah, now number one, I don't know if you guys can kind of guess what my number one is, but it is the substance. It is just from the cinematography, from the script, from the ending to the acting. It's just so incredibly put together. The script is just so different. The visual effects is just so camp and outlandish. It's iconic. And the acting, the two actresses like work together, but also they're never seen together, but also like they are one, but they're not, because they're two different people. Is just, through their acting, they convince you that they are one. And it's because of the substance. And it's just so fun to watch. The ending very reminds me of Carrie in that way. There's a lot of blood and it doesn't look real. But it was still really fun. But yeah. All right, so that was my top 10 horror movies for this year that I've watched for the first time. But yeah, if you have different thoughts about anything I mentioned here, or I should have included one of the horror movies that you've enjoyed over this year, let me know down below. But yeah, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe, do all those good things. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.